Heyo, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome in. It is Tuesday, and that means it is time for the Table Talk Show. Welcome in, Ilaria. Congratulations on being first, taking the title from JD. I'm Kay. I am one of your co-hosts, and I am here just doing this right now. Don't have a whole lot else going as far as shows and APs, though I have been told that not this coming Friday, but Friday the 26th, we will see Brandon at the Weird Wilds War. Hey Rex, welcome on in. David, who the heck is you, and what the heck is we doing here?
I am here on a Tuesday, isn't it, Gov? Hi, I'm David, and this is the Chaotic Wholesome Tuesday Table Talk Show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be energetic when you haven't had caffeine after 2 p.m. like a responsible person, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
Hey, Matt, welcome in. And obviously, we are not here alone today. We have an awesome guest who makes gorgeous stuff, and I can't wait for y'all to hear what Ollie's been up to. Welcome, Ahmed. Who the heck is you? And what the heck do you do that brought you here?
I am Ahmed. I do so much. I'm a serial hobbyist, so I've just started doing a bunch of things, and then I now want to share them with the world. So I am a game designer, writer, editor. I do some graphic design and layout stuff, but that's like not official, I don't think. I don't know. And I also make tabletop game accessories for board games and RPGs. And those accessories come in the form of GM screens and token trays and dice towers and dice and dice and dice. So yeah, that's what I do, I think, in a nutshell.
In a very lovely carved embossed wooden nutshell. Y'all, I was digging through this website earlier, and I'm like, David, stuff's really cool.
David. Yeah, Kay's like, oh man, this stuff is. It did like slide to the link, and I'm in bed recovering. Click on it, I'm like, ooh,
shady.
Somebody pass me $200 right now. I promise I won't waste it.
Well, thank you.
Yes, we're going to chat about you're a serial hobbyist, I feel like is a personal attack against me as well. Like, I need you to know.
Hey, you only have one hobby, chaos.
Okay, fair.
And it comes in many forms.
Okay, fair.
Many forms.
And, hey, Candace. Yes, so Candace just rolled into chat. I'm so overwhelmingly obsessed with finally playing the Chew TTRPG. I've been waiting with such patience. Candace is incredible and was an Ennie's judge, so I know that is
awesome.
Near and dear to their heart. Also,
yeah.
Ahmed is incredible and was like, hey, your talk show fans are cool people. In chat is a coupon code, and if you plug that in to the website, you can get 20% off your order. Chaotic Wholesome. Thank you so much. But yes, let's talk about Chew first, because that's really heckin' cool. And any nominations and judges picks are like not a small thing. So tell us, what you did with that, what that was all about, and like, hey DC, welcome on in. And I'm gonna stop talking now.
So Chew was amazing. Is amazing. It's some of the most fun, energetic kind of level of wacky play that I've ever played, and it's just so much. But I started reading the comics in 2017, I think, and they weren't yet complete. So whenever that time frame was, I might be off by a few years. But so I started reading the comics, and I caught up to a certain point when they were coming out serialized, and I stopped, and I kind of continued with my life, and it just kind of dropped off. And as I entered this TTRPG space at a PAX or Origin PAX, I believe, PAX U in Philly, I was walking around and I saw a Imagining Games booth set up, and sure enough, they were taking the like the late orders or the late pledges for Chew, and I was like, oh, this is incredible. I can't, this is awesome. And I had spoke to Pete Petruccia there. He runs Imagining Games, and he reached out to me about a few weeks later and said, hey, we're looking for people that know the comic, that know how and what this whole world can get up to, and do you want to be a part of that? And I was all in. It was great. It was so fun. So the first book, I had a little bit more of less of a minimal contact with. I did some editing and some proofreading, but I mostly worked on the second book, which is the Chuniverse, which is the setting guide, and it expands on all kinds of stuff. It's actually, I think it might be a bigger book.
Hey, Zykrem.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. So yeah, the books are super fun, and it's just the zaniest food crime drama. It's just like, I feel like at a certain point I'm just saying weird words, but yeah, it's a riot. It's a great time.
Yeah, and it's like food crime is not what I would expect from a Forged in the Dark series game.
Yeah. And it's really cool. It's unique that way too, because it's not as you take the stats out of the Forge in the Dark and how there's like the skill tiers and staggering, and then they just put all of that energy and effort into the weird ability stuff that you can do. And for those that aren't familiar with Chew is set in a world where the bird flu has wiped out a large amount of the population. Now, fair warning, this was before COVID, so I don't know. but yeah, so wiped out, and naturally the U.S. government just thought the best decision was to ban all poultry. So chicken, turkey, all duck, all poultry are illegal, and because food crime has shot up, a mom and pop shop becomes a chicken speakeasy. Drug dealers have stopped slinging drugs and are now slinging two-piece in the side. The mafia is running chicken throughout the city, and they have made the FDA the highest ranking enforcement agency in the world. So they have all kinds of power, and you play one of those FDA agents. And if that wasn't enough of the craziness, people are getting food powers and they don't know why. So, the comics are excellent. Yeah.
I feel like this is a game we need Kato to play.
Yeah. Oh man, this sounds like Kato wrote it.
We, one of the amazing people who plays in our home games, his name is Kato. He is our local Chaos Gremlin who has made both David and I better GMs, because we always have to go, what would Kato do? We have to prepare. And very few people can out Kato. But every single one of his characters has a food name.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
my
favorite being Mike Marinara, who goes by Meatball.
Meatball, good. Yeah.
He had a dwarf fighter who had twin blades and did spin attacks, and his name was Vita Mixur. So yes,
that's amazing.
It's one of those things where every so often there's a thing where it's like, this was made for Kato. He needs to play this at some point. But yes, you need spicy nugs? I got some spicy nugs.
So like a couple of things went through my head when you said they banned all fowl. My writing partner is allergic to fowl. So like chicken, duck, pheasant, and you'd be surprised at the number of things that have chicken stock in them, including vegetarian food. So my first thought was she would celebrate. She would immediately join the FDA and enforce the ban. But then I thought about chicken nuggets and how many people don't just eat chicken nuggets, but rely on chicken nuggets,
Subsist off of them.
including my writing partner's son.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like
Where-
a lot of kid food, right? Like,
Right.
Well,
Like, if
and-
you don't
and-
have dino nuggies, then he's not eating.
Well,
I
and
mean,
it's
I have
not
dino
just.
nuggies, but no kids, so
Right.
I mean, that's
right.
there's a lot of that's the like comfort and staple food for a lot of neurospicy people, right? Like, how
Yeah.
do neurospicy folks live without chicken nuggies?
Because man cannot live on mac and cheese alone.
you need them both.
Or baked beans and a dice.
Uh,
Can we put a chicken nugget in a dice? Do they make a
I
small enough
really
one?
I had plans
Or a big enough dice?
before I had to get rid of my my dice making setup. I wanted to make mac and cheese dice.
That would
Just the little
be,
noodles with the yellow.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, I could see that.
couple of things. One, Kay made baked bean dice. And I remember when they first made them, Kay was like, I'm so excited about these, and then showed them to me. And I was like, "Oh, no, God, no. And since then, I've seen so many crimes against beans, mostly perpetrated by the British. The latest of which is sliced baked beans,
Oh yeah.
where it's like baked beans, but it's like a gelatinized slice of it.
Like a Kraft cheese, only it's baked beans.
Oh,
Right.
oh.
And they now have mayo in slices. And the
That's
reason I
weird.
know this is because I saw a TikTok video where somebody took a piece of bread, put down a mayo slice, put a piece of meat on it, and then put down another mayo slice, and then
Ugh.
closed it up. So, like, I had
Mm-mm.
all of that assaulting my head all at once. Jesus Christ.
Oh my
No.
goodness.
Matt says no, absolutely no. Mayo should not be sliced. David, why would you share this cursed knowledge?
Look, if I have to suffer, everyone's got a few.
But like, that's a really cool. Backing this up a little bit, that's a really cool like story, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to get into TTRPG writing. I want to,
Yeah.
how do you?" And the number of times, it's like, how do I get invited to APs? How do I? It's like, show up,
Hmm.
meet
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
like show that you're knowledgeable, show that you're reliable, and do the thing.
That's my experience. That's 90% of it. I was in a situation where I kind of got a leg up because I was working for Dogmite Games, where I've learned all of my skills and have continued on my woodworking skills as they had closed. But when they were closing, there was a plan to release adventures with screens. That would be like a freebie kind of thing that you get with a screen that kind of matches. So you can kind of have this full immersive experience. So I had adventures that I'd been working on, and then unfortunately the doors shut at Dogmite, and I had adventures left over. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna make something out of them, right? Like I can't, yeah. So
Sunk cost,
yeah.
may as well.
yeah, right at that point, yeah. So one of my adventures that I have put out is Union of Dragons, and it's a 5e thing that I just made on my own, and it's out there in the world now. But it came from that, and that's where I was like starting to just be able to proof of concept. Really, is like I can do this. I am reliable. I can do the thing. I'm here for it, because even some of the people that I've experienced with that they sign on and they don't show up, or life happens, and that's okay because life does happen. But
Absolutely.
having somebody there that's reliable is how you end up in a seat.
Yeah.
And
Half the reason we started producing TTRPGs was I worked in video games, and I worked with people who knew how to set up OBS and do live streams, and I'd been live streaming before, and it was like, oh, well, I could pull this off. And the number of people who would be very good at it but don't have, can't afford the machine, don't know how to set up the OBS because it's a lot of learning. It's like, yeah, I have outside knowledge that made me good at this, but I never would have known that had I not just shown up and gone, okay, so how do y'all do this? What does it look like?
And an important thing for people who are getting into streamed tabletop or any sort of like media, obviously if you can't do a thing, tell them that you can't do the thing. Don't like wait and then figure and hope your situation changes and that it doesn't. Like say something. But also when it comes to consistency doesn't necessarily mean that you're there and available all the time, because like everybody's got a day job.
Yeah.
Everybody has life outside of it. Like things happen. Our last scheduled game got canceled because the GM hurricane landed on his house and he lost power. Like there's nothing you could do about that. There's no preventing that. But the real problem, and we've had people who, if it came to like social situations, we'd consider them a flake because they cancel half the time. However, they give us so much notice that they're like, oh, by the way, I have a wedding to go to that weekend. I thought I could do it and I can. That we're happy to invite them back. However, there are at least two people I can think of where they've either canceled on us last second, when they had tons of foreknowledge, or they just didn't say anything at all and just no-showed, where we're like, all right, well, I guess you don't want to work with us. That's fine, because we don't want to work with you either. This is fine.
Yeah, communication, right? Because as you said, life happens. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I can take on this amount of work and it's not a problem. And then a crisis happens and you can't, right? And just being honest, being upfront, telling people means so much, and not waiting until the last possible second. Like even going like, hey, I thought I could do this. There's a chance I can't. Like this is something just hit me. It's personal. You don't need all the details, but something just hit me and I'm going to try, but there's a chance I won't get it done. If someone tells me that, cool. I can start making backup plans for if I need to, right? That's all I need. Communication really drives so much, from professional relationships to friendships. Exactly. I have friends who I know are going to be 20 minutes late. I know that about those friends. That's fine. When they show up 20 minutes early, that I'm boned because I'm still,
To get my mother to show up to a family function an hour late. Now, again, my people, specifically Cajuns and Creoles, are notorious for being a little bit later than normal late people. So if the thing starts at 6 and you show up at 9, you might be there early. But to get my mother to show up an hour late, they would tell our entire family that the thing started 2 hours earlier than it did. I remember there was a barbecue that started at 3, and they told my mom that it started at 1, and we didn't leave the house until 4. People had come and left by the time we showed up.
But I'll also say that's the other cool thing about the TTRPG space is like we're watching lots of big and small IPs get footholds in the space. Even like often like with Chew, actually licensed, but like Big Strong Hands is a kind of not Land Before Time. Never-ending story. It's a TTRPG inspired by Never-ending Story. It's not official, right? But if you are a nerd, there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a space for your nerddom in here, and maybe not probably, but there's a chance you can get paid to work on the nerddom that you are already obsessed with.
100%. Yeah. And that's, I love comics, and that was a cool aspect. And working on a IP like that is is such a fun situation, but when it's like this wacky zany comic, and it's like, I didn't speak with them, but Pete, the owner of Imagining Games, and he's the creative director for the game, he spoke with John and Rob, the creators of Chew, and there were certain parts where, like, hey, can we do this? Or, and John and Rob were like, yeah, we don't really care. Just go nuts, because everything can happen in this world. And that's like a really cool, freeing experience, especially working so close to that, the creators of that. If you're working on a Star Wars game, and by all means, I'm cool with Star Wars, nothing against it, but like, you change something in the game, then down the line in the Darth Vader miniseries that they have, that goes against that, and it's no longer canon, and then you can't do it or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not leaking any information or anything, but
No, I work in video games, and the amount of conversations and negotiations and things that have to happen with IP holders, go nuts is. Whew.
That has to be so liberating.
It was awesome. It was awesome. We're making up food powers and cybernetic enhancements that are related to animals, like if you had you went blind or something like that in the field of, or in the line of duty, and you get your eyeballs replaced with fly balls, and you can see in all kinds of directions because flies.
Yikes. Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay, so the phrase food powers has come out twice.
Yeah.
And Kay's bean dice scrambled my brain the first time. Please tell me anything about food powers. Because food powers.
Yeah, because food powers, right? Yeah.
Food powers, right.
So the comic book follows Tony Chu, the FDA agent, and Tony has this power that not everybody has, even in the food power world. So if Tony eats something, he gets a psychic flashback of the history of that thing. So he eats, a cob of corn. He knows where the farm that it grew in. He knows the farmer that picked it. He knows the soil mix, all of the history of that. If he eats he wouldn't eat chicken because it's illegal. But if he eats, a ham sandwich, then he knows the pig and knows where the pig was, and kind of revisits that experience.
Does he know the pig's name?
Maybe. But Tony is a known vegetarian too, because
I was about to say, that'd make you a vegetarian real fast.
100%, yeah. So as this is going on, Tony realizes that a girl is kidnapped, and he goes, well, the latest evidence that we have, if I take a bite of this sweater that was or a strand of sweater that was left behind, I might be able to find it. Or if somebody was murdered, he goes, well, I can take a bite of that person that was murdered and find out how they died and who killed them. And so it spirals into cannibalism as food powers do.
Yeah.
Mild cannibalism,
How big of a bite are we talking?
I mean,
spoilers
are
we
for the
talking...
comics, it was 2016 or whatever. So, but there's a point where not only do you get psychic flashbacks, but you can kind of take on traits from that person. So he eats a baseball player and can throw a baseball really far.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
But,
so,
because when you say takes a bite of someone, I'm thinking your wife has a really delicious looking burrito and you want to ruin her day, so you take way too big of a bite, or are we talking a nibble?
I think there's a factor in, I'm reaching back into the comic book world, and again, Rob and John don't care, but play your game however you want to play. But I would say maybe a freshness factor, and that might be the GM in me being like, well, this one's not necessarily as fresh. What are you trying to get out of it? But I think there's a freshness factor. Yeah.
Matt, Mimics and Misfits, does he keep like snacks of field experts to get their thoughts on things?
That would be brilliant.
Read the comic. That's all I'm going to say. Because we're getting to the point where
Yes.
I don't want to spoil too much. It's so much fun. And I will say this much. You can absolutely play the game without having read the comic. It explains everything that you need to. Half of what it explains, I've explained to you thus far. You know, you don't need to read the comic. The comic's a riot, though.
Yeah. So I'm still on. No, we don't care. Go nuts. Go do whatever you want. Get to eat one of Da Vinci's fingers. Just the tip.
Yeah.
I love you, chat. So yes, and that was Judge's pick on Ennie, correct?
Yes.
On the Ennies.
Yeah.
That
Judge's
is.
pick, and that's a very cool, unique award too, because it's just a judge's selection of this is what I think is awesome this year, and that's it. And that's the medal. That's the win. And while it would be great to be nominated for any of the others, knowing that it won right out the gate was also very cool. You know, you didn't have to wait till Gen Con on that Friday night to hang out. But
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, Gen Con is coming up really fast, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
End of the month. It's the first time, at least in some time, that it's been in July. So yeah, and yes, somebody wrote into chat. Yeah, there are puns in it because I wrote it. So my players get inspiration for puns, so that's how I live. But yeah,
David
there's plenty
takes
of
psychic damage and then gives us inspiration.
Yeah.
Like that hurt. Take it and leave.
Which
Take your
means
inspiration.
they get
I
like
like that.
2 every session.
Excellent. Yeah.
Excellent. But yeah, how like I've been lucky enough to get to work on a couple cool things with IPs that I enjoyed. I don't know that any of them are ever going to see the light of day, but I can't imagine how cool that feels. I think I can say this now, because QuakeCon is going on right now, isn't it?
I think
yes. So. It's either being announced or been announced at QuakeCon. My GM for my UK home game wrote the Doom TTRPG, and I got to see the cover this morning, and it's so cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, the excitement of being like, I love this thing, and you get to work on it, and then having the freedom, because I have definitely been in the space of people are like, why don't you do community management? You'd be great for Pokemon. I'm like, I don't want to clear stuff with Nintendo. There's no creativity there. Inspiration for puns, says Lurking Rider. Stands up like Obi-Wan Kenobi, dropping in on General Grievous. Hello there.
I love it.
Having Lurking Rider in one of your games, David, would be so much. But the other thing we need to discuss is the other really cool thing that you do, which we touched on earlier in the stream, but now we've got more folks hanging out, which is you make really freaking cool tabletop wooden accessories.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. And like I mentioned earlier, so I'd worked at Dogmite Games, and they had made really awesome tabletop accessories. And between what was, the transition of all of that, I was the head of development and design while I was there. So I would work on new products. I would work on engravings. I would work for licensed work. So like the dice trays that Critical Role uses, the Dimension 20, the screen from the Glass Cannon podcast, so all kinds of cool stuff like that. As well as making new products. We started kind of branching out into furniture. We had some furniture prototypes. This is one of them, which is nice and cool. But the downside is that unfortunately the company had to shut its doors. But when it did, I took up that mantle and started working on my own products. and it is a grueling process because I'm the only person doing it right now. I don't have a team, but the combination of doing marketing and web design and meanwhile woodworking, and it does scratch that itch of too many hobbies, which is good, And anytime I run into like a writer's block, if I'm writing an adventure or working on a new game or anything like that, I can just step into the shop, clear my mind, do something with my hands for a second. It also helps, the computer chair back pains. So, but
yeah, switching gears as a creative is so important. The number of musicians who are like, I also paint or I also sculpt, and I get the idea for my music when I'm stuck while I'm doing this other thing with my hands. It's so effective.
I was just going to say, I know at least 4 people in real life, 2 musicians and 2 writers, that are like, oh, when I get stuck, I go and paint something. And it's always painting with them. But so I am terrible at art. And I've told stories on this channel about how bad at art I am. So I'm always really interested in artists and the things they create. So like, did tabletop lead you to make like tabletop wood products, or did you already have a background in woodworking and then just fuse those? Like, how did that whole situation come together?
I had the experience. I call it like garage level woodworking. I could make you a table, but it wouldn't be sturdy or maybe level. But like I could make like, a gardening or a flower box and that kind of stuff. During COVID, I was like working a little bit on that, and I'd like made desks for kids that were like being schooled at home. And it started off with my nieces. My sister's got 3 kids, and my nieces needed that. So then we started working off with other people in the community and either selling them or donating them. And that was a cool, fun way to get into woodworking more so. At that time, I had wrote a quirky little letter to Dogmite Games about rolling and perception checks and this, that, and kind of all these RPG puns and in the letter. And they got a hold of me and said, yeah, come on in. So I had like minimal working experience, but I dove right into it. I'm a very fast learner. I learn by doing. And then as far as like the art goes, I worked a lot on the graphic design aspects of things, planning out lasers and converting artwork into laser work like that. And then on the other side of it, it's like you get to shift, and it is painting, but with stains and inks, and you come out with like stuff like that. So
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like you can do like cool shadings and like underneath the jaw and that kind of stuff. So that's a really cool outlet. And I will eventually get to the point where, you can pick colors and on the website and figure out or whatever you want. Right now, it's currently just, whatever I make. And I like that because it's like, this is my art. And it's definitely a great outlet for that. Yeah. And especially like when writer's block hits and being able to just move to the next thing. And on top of that, I have like 5 RPG projects at all times. So it's like if one hits, then I go to the next, and
right.
I have a checklist of where I need to be.
Yeah, Rex says that is beautiful, and Lurking Writer agrees, and then said, product idea, a writer's block, a chunk of wood you can store writing utensils in.
Oh, that is, that is going to be a thing now. Thank you. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, I'll be sure to find you one. Yeah. No, that's good. And it's a pun, right? Inspiration.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Lurking Writer. You can take inspiration to your next game. If your GM has a problem with it, tell him to call me.
But yeah, it's really cool to me to see how people like fall into various things. Because like I was saying in the green room, I started making dice when the pandemic hit because I was like, I'm an introvert. it confuses everyone. I present as an extrovert,
Mhm.
and then people are like, "What do you mean you don't want to hang out 24/7?" Right? Like,
Mhm.
and so during the pandemic, like I was actually pretty okay for a very long time of like, no, I'm fine. I got my apartment, I got my cats, right? I'm good. But I needed something to like structure my day more.
Mhm.
And it became making dice because it was like I pour them and they have to sit for 24 hours. So
Mhm.
like that's my okay, at this time
Yeah.
of the day I go do that. And that was how I could like mark the passage of time during that weird nebulous stretch.
Mhm.
So, you know, it for me, TTRPGs came first, and then it was like, I think I could do that. I think I could,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it consistently until a weird thing happened. But it's really cool that you had like existing knowledge, and then were able to, port that in over here.
Yeah. And especially like I can now push that towards my passions and push
Mhm.
that towards my hobbies. And it's not necessarily just, I can make a desk. I don't mind making desks, but making a desk isn't necessarily the
Making a desk isn't
exciting part
making a
of it.
GM
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Knowing that like some other nerd is equally going to love this thing.
Mhm.
And, a kid, carving somebody's name into a desk is not that kind of same feeling.
Right. And
Yeah.
what where I think everybody knows at this point, I've worked for a number of years as a writer editor, mostly editing. And what I tell people, clients and people who just ask me, they're like, "Oh man, I don't know if this idea is good or not. I don't know if people are gonna like it." And it's like, go forward anyway, for two reasons. One, the dumbest ideas have become enormous hits. Like, I to this day hate the show Lost. I watched 2.5 seasons of it, and I want
Mhm.
all of that time back.
Yeah.
But also to this day, there are people who will claim that that is the best TV show ever made. And I think Eisner, or whatever the CEO of Disney at the time, was like, "Why are we making the show? The show's the idea is stupid. Don't do this." And he got overruled and eventually got pushed out of Disney because Lost was such a big success. And the other thing is this: write what you like. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a vampire queen, werewolf king, sloppy incestual romance that you want, write it, because you're a person, and if you're into it, other people are going to be into it too. You just got to find your people.
The internet has taught
Um,
us anything.
yeah, if the internet has taught us anything, there is an audience for it.
100%.
And it doesn't need to be a big audience, because there are 8 billion people on Earth. So if like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 is into your stuff, that's a gazillion people.
Mhm.
So,
I think-
write what you love, because, and also you're going to be passionate about it, and you're not just churning it out because it's
Yes.
popular or cool or whatever. And people can see when something is fake, when something is just a cash grab, when something is hollow. That's one of the many problems with AI art and writing, is like, this is just a machine slapping words together. This is
Mhm.
just a machine putting extra knee joints on the leg. Like,
My hot steamy romance just suddenly derailed to talk about conscious breathing and group meditation. How do I make the AI stop doing that?
right.
Which was a real post in a writing help
Oh my
forum, by the
God.
way.
Oh, that takes, some gall to put that up in a writing forum in general, Yeah.
They're like, I'm trying to write this really steamy romance. Right when they're supposed to get, to the hot part, they start talking about, okay, now let's focus on our breathing.
Oh, that's where I have hope, that kind of stuff, where I'm like, all right, maybe we'll be okay.
It's also a moment I would also kind of like to read that. Like, just to roast it. I just want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, what happens next? It's quite the cliffhanger that they left you. I was like,
Right. It's like, do they interlock toes? Like, I need to know.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's what I would do.
Breathing is important, but that sounds like a mood killer. Exactly. Yeah, Chuck Tingle would write that into a bestseller. Definitely. But what can't Chuck Tingle write into a bestseller? And if you need proof that someone will be into your weird thing, Chuck Tingle exists. And he's awesome.
It's one of those things that, like, if there's like 10 people that are into your thing, especially like our culture, our subculture, or whatever it is, we are all in every time we find something, you know? And it's for better or worse. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, cool, 3D printing? Yeah, and now I have like a wall of minis and print them all, and I'm all in. So it doesn't take a lot, but what it does take is that passion and that reality to kind of shine through.
I know Matt is calling himself out here, but yeah, ADHD is a hell of a thing.
I don't know what HD is, but the doctor says I got 80 of them.
I did want to too. You told us as a very loud car goes by, motorcycle goes by. You told us in the green room about how you're taking your minis to the next level in making sure no one ever mistakes your roles. And I need you to share this because people in this chat are going to lose their ever-loving minds.
I don't have one right here, of course, but
that's fine. That's fine.
So I too have taken my swat at making my own dice, and it is. I like it because it's like when I'm sanding or polishing dice, it's very meditative. I can just kind of sit, chill, you know, and that's my Zen moment for the day. But because I also 3D print, I'm like, well, how can I put these things together? So I've 3D printed my miniature for my character and then put a second one in my dice that is also painted. So now it has, nobody can mistake in my dice for anybody because it has my mini in it, is my character in it. So I've been doing that, and then like putting like their accessories in like a potion for an alchemist in the D6 and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was like the whole the whole crew, the whole kit for them. So
that says take my money.gif.
I just picture a D20 where the 20 is the on the 20 side the figurine is standing up, and on the one side the figurine is upside down.
Oh yeah,
like you just fucked if you roll one.
Yeah, I don't know how it could work too, but if you had like a liquid core so that like there's like red, or like they spin too. Yeah, I was thinking just that if they were upside down, they were like in a red bloody pool or something. I don't know.
Liquid fire inside 46 for the wizard. Yep. Liquid fireball. Yep. Why are there small figures inside your dice? That's my demon army.
Yes. This is the souls of those that I've killed.
Yes. Like every time I slay a big bad, I have to make a new dice because his soul now lives in my dice. It's just I collect my trophies for TTRPGs.
Just what you do, yeah. Until we have carbonite, that's all we have.
Yeah,
so I have an unfair question.
Oh boy.
You obviously everything you put on the shop is a labor of love.
Yes.
But what would you say your favorite piece is?
Shucks.
Like I said, unfair question.
Yeah, it is.
Your favorite child.
Right.
So I have learned to be able to let my baby birds fly the coop and move on to somebody else because I know that they're going to appreciate them that much more too. I think there is a Red Heart dice tower that is on there right now that has a very unique and rare grain pattern, and it is it's just really cool. It's like it looks like fire's rising up, and it's just the natural grain of the wood, and that's the kind of stuff like I love staining and doing all that kind of stuff too. But I like when nature is the artist a little bit, and I like, there's some live edge pieces on there that are really cool. I have a live edge screen coming up. But I think when like the grain is just truly its own self, or like a rare little bit, that's probably the fun stuff.
My only experience with wood is in high school. Not that. Anyway, my only experience with wood is in high school when I had to chop wood to build fires.
Mhm.
And one of the things that was really great about it is we got wood for our wood pile from a bunch of different types of trees, and seeing just the differences in like grains and like wood densities and smells and textures, and just how different a tree can be from one type to the next,
Mhm.
was always really fascinating.
Thank you for
Yeah.
the clip, Matt.
I should have known what I was saying when I said it, but
I
here
was
we
just
are.
really worried about where this was going.
That's
That's
fair.
all. That's all. I'm just like, eh. Yeah, this is obviously nowhere near the same level, but I'm known for being a little bit extra. And we've got a home game coming up where one of the other players was like, "Oh, your character does calligraphy. Do you think my character who runs an inn could have convinced your character to like design the sign?" So I had to design the sign.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
and the first thing that I did was go out and try and find an interesting wood grain pattern, like in
Mhm.
stock art, that I could use to base the sign around. Like I wanted that wood
Mhm.
grain to be part of the personality of the sign, and just like put the font and all that around what that would be. So yeah, nowhere near the same, but yeah, nature's
Oh,
fucking
that's
great.
awesome.
Like let's
It's
highlight
that-
their stuff whenever we can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that attention to detail. And I'm the same with like, I played a scribe's wizard. So I made like a engraved journal and like a quill. This isn't it, but like the, what is it called? Fountain pen. And like went all in, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do this. And then partway through, I was like, oh man, the scribe's wizard isn't, I'm going to just pivot to a necromancer and see what happens.
No.
But, so yeah, but
Yeah, Lurking Rider says, I made a chessboard once, except one of the squares were actually rectangles because I'm bad at woodworking.
everybody's is. If it's the small stuff, that's what makes it woodworking. If it was perfect, then a robot is doing it somewhere. That's what makes it woodworking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I sent it to the player, I was like, I wanted to spend a bunch of time like making that sign perfect, and I went, this is like a calligrapher's attempt at making a wooden sign. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Leave it imperfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, if you do if you do a creative thing and you play tabletop, like, do the thing, share it with people, because as a GM, as a GM, I don't have my own character sheet. I don't have my own like figurine or anything like that. But some of the best moments in games that I have run have been like little doodles that a player did for one of their characters and sent to me. I had a table that was only like 3 sessions, but one of the people played a bard, and he's a professional musician. So he would bring his guitar to the session, and then whenever there was combat or whenever I was like, okay, well, you got to do a performance in the tavern to earn your money for the day, he would grab his guitar and then play a song. And it's just stuff like that that's so really cool. One of I don't have it with me, but one of my prized possessions is Kay made potion jars with Dyson. Yeah, Kay's got it.
Just little healing potion
Oh yeah,
dice rollers.
those are great.
And it's just one of the fucking coolest things I have. So especially if you can make it for like everyone, even if it's just like an image that goes into the group chat, like do it, because it's one of the cooler things that can happen.
As some of y'all know, we nearly reduced one of my most grumpy hardcore GMs to tears because we actually made a calendar
Oh,
for
cool.
the thing, and we did it all in secret, and we got to surprise him. And I'm gonna carefully cover some of this up because what he didn't know was it was a pinup calendar, and so he
That's
opens it, and it's like, how do I cover this one carefully? Like it's there's no actual nudity, but you know it's
Yeah.
Twitch, so we're being extra
We're on
careful.
Twitch,
So that like this is one of his NPCs. So the first thing he sees
That's
is
amazing.
his NPC topless with smoke, covering her
Oh
bits.
my gosh. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so touched and I'm so angry. And of course, this is what you did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, do cool stuff for your GM. 'Cause your GM
Yeah.
does cool stuff for you.
And some of us
100%,
can't
yeah.
art at all, not even a little bit.
I mean, that's why I go overboard with my players because I'm the GM most of the time.
Mhm.
So, but
Like-
yeah,
I play one of the games I play with. One of the people who plays is an actual artist. Like she makes her living doing pointillism, and I send her like my ridiculous little my GM. There, last session, the final session, there's this thing called Black Blood, which like turns you into like a monstrous thing, and you lose control eventually. It's this really bad thing. And he infected my character and my character's partner with this Black Blood, except like he knows I'm afraid of dogs. So instead of making it werewolf, he was like making it cat-like, right? We were like, and so I'm gonna attack him with doodles of our characters as cat people because he put this in the world. He tried to torture us with it, and now we're gonna torture him back.
how it works. That's what friendship is. Just torturing each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was some meme about like GMs will be like, I really needed that, and that was just torturing their friends for 3 hours on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's all
sounds right.
TTRPGs are sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just need to take a step back in that, like, you make the product, you do the website, you do the I can barely keep up with the marketing for
Yeah.
this.
Right.
It's a lot. It is. And it's fun, and there's days that are stressful, just like everything else. But this is what I do full time too. So I don't have a day job right now. Thank you to my lovely wife because if it wasn't for her, we have a home that we, all that kind of stuff. So, the progress of starting your own business is a big, it's a big step, and moving into that direction. We supportive partners, that's
Absolutely.
one super helpful way.
And I suppose, okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I guess now, and we do not have to discuss this if you do not want to, because we didn't actually clear this in the green room, but we're in interesting times, and the good news is all your work and labor is in house.
Yep.
So tariffs aren't going to be that big of a problem, except like I know the cost of wood and stuff is going up.
Yeah. There is, it especially with like the quote unquote cooler woods. I like the domestic woods. But like there are some really cool, like that red heart is super rare. And it is South American. And there's woods that I work with from Africa and South America, Central America. I don't know if I work a lot with woods from Asia. But for instance, somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I'm in Australia. We have this cool wood here. Can you make me a pen out of it? I'd be like, yes. I don't know how. I'll see if I can get it here. I can't. So now we're going to work out some kind of exchange of like, if they can mail it to me, awesome. But then we have to deal with customs and we have to deal with all that. So yes, there is some pain there. But the other side of it is like that I do have, the labor is here. It is made here. I'm in Michigan. It's when it's nice out, I can get work done. We do have a beautiful 6 months of winter or whatever we have. So That's fun.
I went to college in Michigan, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that can be rough.
But yeah, so it's bittersweet because I also, my own choices and everything like that. I don't agree with that, but I also see that people in the industry, it hurts because the other side of my business is, I want to make a book. I'm trying to find a publisher, or I'm trying to publish my own stuff, and I'm trying to find cool things that people love, like dice, because I can't make 500 dice. They're niche stuff. If I did, then that's all I'm doing. And yeah, that kind of stuff is a bummer. I know a good friend of mine owns a board game industry or business, and she's looking at the industry and she's like, "This sucks right now." So yeah, it's definitely been bittersweet. But like saying that I'm an American manufacturer also kind of feels it's okay,
Yeah.
It feels like I'm cheating a little bit because it's just me. It's not like I don't have a team. I'm not, I'm not bringing jobs back or anything. It's just one job.
It's artisan.
Yeah, it's art. It's bespoke. It's whatever the fancy words.
And as someone who's been self-employed for a very long time, the biggest pain in the ass that I have is all the admin stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so hopefully you expand enough where you could just hire somebody to do the admin stuff. And then boom, you created a job. But even if you're just paying yourself and keeping yourself afloat, like as much as I encourage people to start their own businesses and to work for themselves, the reality is most businesses fail. Or Americans kind of have like a weird view of what a successful business is because there's this idea that you start a business and then it just keeps growing year after year from now until the end of time.
Line goes up forever.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I did transcription, I worked for a woman who ran the business herself. And COVID happened around the time that she would have retired anyway. And so she just kind of closed up shop and she's like, okay, I'm done here. And she was active for 25, 30 years. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a successful business.
Yeah.
Like most restaurants close in the first year. So if a year and a day you're still open and paying your bills and paying down your debt, I call your business a success.
Yeah, line goes up forever is what has caused problems in the video game industry.
Yeah. Ooh-wee.
Line does not go up forever. Line cannot go up forever. That's a pyramid scheme.
Especially when the way to make line go up is to reduce your payroll.
Yeah.
Because then you have 9,000 people looking for work on the same day. Thanks, Microsoft.
But we should talk about something a little less depressing and a little bit closer to what we all do.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the things we wanted to make sure we talked about is you do a lot of work with underrepresented voices and people in the space, which is also something that David and I are passionate about because each in our own ways, we also represent underrepresented groups in TTRPGs. So tell us about some of that, what you do, and how we can support.
Yeah. So I have worked with most recently the Rose Gauntlet Foundation. That friend who works in the board game industry owns Rose Gauntlet. So they make games. And they also have the foundation, which is dedicated to bringing voices and raising up those people that come from underprivileged communities. So there is specifically started off working with the BIPOC Lounge at Gen Con, and it transitioned to working with a number of their organizations and groups and kind of helping work with all of them as the team. But there is also a number of organizations that I've been kind of working with, discussing with. D8 Summit charity. I've worked with there's a new, I say new, I guess it was last year, but Gamehole Con. There's a now POC industry dinner night where everybody can kind of like come together and meet, and that's such a big part of it, because when you walk into an industry and you don't see people that look like you, or you don't see, you have a name that identifies that nobody else really kind of can relate to, and that kind of stuff. It's tough, and it's shouldn't be the case, especially that the hobby has a history of gatekeeping a lot of those types of individuals out. So yeah, just any bit of any chance that we can raise that kind of stuff up. I know that there's plenty of programs out there. Can talk about them or post them in afterwards or whatever. Like, I don't have a list of them in front of me right now, but yeah, there's all kinds of organizations, and I know the people that are working on them. So there's absolutely connections that can be made.
Amazing. So yeah, we have a lot of folks who hang out with the show, who produce bigger name TTRPGs, who are starting up their own TTRPG productions, who are working on doing talks and APs and such at conventions. So you might be a great person. I'm asking. This is literally an ask, because I don't want to send people to you if you're like, edit it. But like, if you're looking for ways to make sure, are you a good person, or would you rather us pull together some links and have people go directly to organizations?
I don't know if I know all the information,
Totally
that's
fair.
my thing. So yeah. But I would gladly be a resource, just like everything else. So if somebody mentions something or wants to reach out, I would be happy to lend my experience and my voice to that.
Yeah, I came up through community management and pop culture, DeviantArt, video games, all of that. And I very quickly discovered that one of my greatest values, assets, one of the reasons I was a valuable contact and employee, was that I had every answer. I knew who to ask to get every answer. And sometimes, yes, here's a link, here's links to where to start. But like, hey, I've got this weird specific thing. Oh yeah, I might not know that, but I know this person who can do that. Like, that is so valuable and so needed. And I also want to point out that, like, that is this, especially to people who look like me, that is work. Do your research first. Google first. But if you're like, hey, I have this really cool opportunity and I want to make sure I get the absolute right person, because I've been lucky enough to be able to advise some people who've put together TTRPG stuff at like DreamHack. So making sure you've got the right people who are going to be up on stage representing TTRPGs and an underrepresented community in TTRPGs on top of that. Like, ask the question, vet people. It's important.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you for the work you do there. It is awesome, and it is very appreciated, because we gatekeep Elon Musk here.
Yeah.
Outside of that.
All right.
Look, if you're a billionaire, don't expect any love on our show, with the exception of Dolly Parton. And that's because Dolly Parton is never a billionaire for long, because she gives away most of her money. But outside of that, if you're a billionaire and you're looking for solace and succor, this is not the place for it. Go find your own bubble. Twitter is right there. Just go there.
Go make your own bubble. Buy your own bubble.
Right.
That's what they do. Right?
Buy a newspaper. That's what's in vogue. Buy a newspaper. Build a bunker. Like, that's what the cool kids are doing these days. So just go do that.
I was thinking about like, what would I do? And I think I would like buy land and just not have it be industry. Like I was just like, all this spawned because I accidentally hit a goose the other day, Yesterday, actually, a goose flew into my windshield
That is such a
across
Michigan thing.
the. Yeah, and like I have this goose-sized crack on my windshield, which is wild. But I'm like, man, why are there geese in downtown Ann Arbor as I'm driving around to pick up some running errands or whatever? And I'm like, well, they don't have land around here, so I'm like, I would buy land and just have it be like a goose sanctuary so they don't hit my car. Yeah, it's a little selfish, but whatever.
Look, if you're, I forget which like billionaire magnate rich person did the public schools, or not public school, the library system. Like, was it Carnegie or was it? Anyway, doesn't matter. Rich white guy started public libraries so that he could put his name on buildings all around town, all over the country. And guess what? I would gladly call every single public library by his name if that meant we had more public libraries.
Yeah.
Like that, I call that a fair trade, as opposed to, like, I don't know, buying like the third largest social media platform and then turning it into a fascism generator. But yeah, like my first two thoughts were, one, I would buy golf courses and turn them into housing, because I still think golf courses are just a gigantic waste of space and resources. And the other thing is, I would buy a castle in the UK so that Kay could play D&D in a castle whenever they want. And apparently you could get them for like $20,000 or something like that. Apparently they're really cheap.
I will not say who, but I am professional acquaintances with a person who is not loud about this, but is a duchess and grew up in a castle and is like, they are miserable. It is so cold and drafty all the time. It's like, I know this is a weird anti-flex, but don't live in a castle. And for the record, Ahmed, chat is on your side. Rex says the goose was an assassin and they failed and you did nothing wrong. And their King Writer says the goose was flying at you, not the other way around. You were absolved of guilt.
All right. Yeah. I would love that in writing, and you will be a character witness. Thank you.
It
I
is
plan
in
on
writing.
suing the goose.
It is in writing in the chat.
Yeah. Goose is alive, by the way. Flew away. Nothing. No problem.
Good.
Rolled off the windshield, kept going.
Probably did a very indignant honk at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were mad at me.
Yeah. They used to be dinosaurs and they remember.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I never feel
100%.
bad eating chicken because they would eat us right back. No,
Yeah.
but I know precisely one person who loves geese, and every other person I know are like, geese are demons with feathers that are here to haunt and hunt you.
Yeah.
Swans are just as bad.
They're just fancy geese, though, right?
Yeah. It's like when people find out that pigeons and doves are the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, one of them's beautiful, and one of them we domesticated and then abandoned.
Yep.
Y'all have
Boy,
to read
howdy,
my
is there a
Goose
lot of
Whisperer
echo.
story in the Discord. Rex, yes, I need to read that. Have you ever seen a pigeon's nest? Not.
Isn't that like one of the arguments of like how they're all robots? Like you've never seen a baby pigeon or like a pigeon's nest because they're all drones.
If I remember correctly, I saw a picture where it was like three bits of straw, a twig, and like a copper cable, like stacked on top of each other with just like an egg right next to it. And they're like, that's a fucking nest. Call it a day.
Yeah, it's just sticks on the ground, loosely kind of near each other. Yeah. Lurking Writer says, if I had the resources to do it, I would build a fully functional modern house, but make the exterior look like a castle as opposed to co-opting an existing castle. Even though I live in the land of castles, it's hard not to find one. This is true. I passed a lot of castles. And then a lot of cathedrals that I'm like I started playing like Cathedral or Castle. It became a game at one point.
Yeah.
I will say one of the coolest locations I have ever seen is I think it was on Zillow, where someone had converted an old church into a house, except the house didn't make any logistical sense because it was a church. And I was like, this place would be so cool to live, except whatever god this was a church of would smite me for the things I did in this place. Might be worth it though.
Yeah,
I have
they're
a
not
really,
using it.
yeah, I have a really cool David has seen this. I have a really cool antique solid wood it's my liquor cabinet. And it's, glass on top, and then it's got cabinets underneath with wooden shelves. And it was where they stored all the communion wine and candles and crackers in an old church. And there's still you could still see the wax rings from where the candles were stored,
Wow.
underneath. And I'm like, I'm gonna get, if I don't get smoked for this, I don't know. I don't know where I'm.
Well, I mean, you got other things to get smoked for, so it's fine.
It's true. I got plenty of others, but that something about that just felt so correctly sacrilegious. That, I mean, technically, it had alcohol in it before.
Right. And I'm an ordained minister, so in theory, I could consecrate all the alcohol in the cabinet and make it all religious.
Consecrate that bottle of tequila that your godbrother gave me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna start consecrating because I am too. But
Let's go.
I'm gonna start consecrating all my drinks.
Yeah, you could bless things, which means you can make holy water.
Can't believe I've just been drinking water this whole time.
Right? You could have been drinking holy water the whole time, and instead.
I'm going to tell you a TTRPG story of some of the worst psychic damage I ever caused David. He knows where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
I play a paladin of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. And look, I know, and yes, she is funny, but I take it very seriously. The work to convert Pastafarianism into a setting with multiple gods is actually a lot of work. To find a way to make that make sense. And I've written a whole sub fight because who was the Adam, what species was he? Right, everyone assumes human, but the garden, the Olive Garden of Eden was near the beer volcano, so it could have been a dwarf because they live near volcanoes, right? Could have been a lava giant, right? So there's all these debate. Midget, could have been an ironic name that he was given. Could have been a giant, was actually named Midget. And we hit a level up. And it was time for me. I could finally cast Bless, but before I could cast Bless, I needed to make Holy Water. And I'm like, okay, David, I'm going to go make Holy Water. And he's like, oh, are you? Oh, are you? Tell me, Kay. I'm an ordained minister. How are you going to make Holy Water, Kay? And I'm like, I've got an answer. And he's like, yeah, you can tell it to me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to tell it to you. He's like, what you going to do? I'm going to make pasta. And that was one of those, I hate you, take your inspiration, get out of my life moments.
And I am really looking for a combat where Roxy, the paladin, gets bonked pretty hard, just so I can say, "Whoops, your bottles of holy water got broken." I'm really waiting on a solid 20 points of damage to just bop them and be like, "Oh, well, whoopsies! The glass bottles that you had your holy water in."
Just go make more.
Yeah. Spaghetti everywhere.
Also, there was a whole right after Roxy makes holy water, goes back. There was an NPC witch who I'm particularly fond of for reasons. Goes back to her place, gets people into a room, and then does this whole ritual with little meatballs and pasta. I'm just like, God damn. Kay by herself
burned oregano instead of sage.
Yeah.
By herself earned 3 inspirations for the party because there are some people at this particular table that are really talkative and some that choose their moments. And so some sessions, two of the players will say like 5 words the whole session, but they're like really important things that are said. But instead of like, especially Kato, just stacking up inspirations for causing me psychic damage, I made it into a pool system. And
Which Baldur's
so,
Gate 3 then stole.
right, the number of ideas we have had, especially Kay has had, that big game companies have stolen. Anyway, but yeah, Kay earned minimum 3 inspirations over the course of like 45 minutes. Because of the stupid religious shit that Roxy did that made way too much sense.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Lurking Rider says, strictly speaking, a pope, he believes Pope Clement VIII, once blessed coffee, so technically any coffee drink made after the 17th century counts as holy water.
That explains Starbucks.
That's like unholy water. Like that is...
Yeah. It's a mermaid. There's a mermaid
Someone
on the
did something
cover,
real
right?
bad to those beans. I feel
Yeah.
bad for them.
Yeah.
This devil's drink is delicious. We should cheat the devil by baptizing it. And then the devil just wandered on over to Starbucks and was like, I'm taking it back.
Right? Exactly.
Oh,
But yes, we are nearing the end of our time. We've had lovely chats, but I know Dave and I have told a couple stories. I want to ask, I know you said you were by and large the forever GM.
Yes.
Can I ask, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, what is a best/worst, favorite/most hated thing that your players have done that made your day, ruined your plans, just lives with you rent free and occasionally pops up in the back of your head?
So I think there are so many. I try to play a game a week, so I try to play a lot. Our Fridays are dedicated to non-D&D games, so there are plenty of them in that. But I think one of the first ones when I was like cutting my teeth as a GM, because I had started GMing during COVID. So I'm not some seasoned person from 20 years ago playing first edition or anything like that. But I do play a lot.
I didn't play my first TTRPG until like the year before the pandemic. So
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
No,
So,
no tea, no shade.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, cool. Let's play this, game. We'll try it out. I think we played like 18 sessions and then we were like, hey, we should stream it. So that happened too for 2 years. One of the players, I think they're the first of all, they're all like my best friends and best friends partners. So it's like all of our family, friends, found family kind of group here.
I love
And
that.
because they know me, they just tried to make it became a game of like, well, what can Ahmed make up? Like on the spot. Like, let's figure that out. So one of my players was, I think they were trying to get the attention of a kid who was being kind of like friendly with a hag, and they were trying to like get them away from them and kind of saying like, hey, don't go off into the woods and hang out with this hag.
Solid advice.
Yeah, right. Like that's like the whole Hansel and Gretel thing.
Don't hang on to the Driftaloon. I don't know if there's any other Pokemon nerds in the chat, but that was solid.
So the child ran into a bakery where the said hag was baking candied and baked goods for the children of the town, and locked the doors. And my players decided the best way to lure somebody out of a building is to set it on fire. So they burned down a bakery that had a child in it. Luckily for them, there was a magical trap door that led to the hag's hut off in the woods. So no children were endangered first and foremost, but there was also, that kept the lead going.
Yeah.
And it was a heated argument between my friend and his partner, and they came to the conclusion that they should both burn down this bakery, and that would lure somebody out. That would scare them out. They burnt it down, and to this day, neither one of them will take credit for burning down the bakery with a child in it. They always blame it on the other, and we're going on, like 7 years or 6 years or whatever it is now. So, it's fun to bring up and just get another round of the fight going between them. But they're still, they're married, so I guess that's, it's going in some direction. They either have a dark secret they have to hide together, or they're fine with it.
Rex says that kid made their decision. They can live or die by it. When I joined the UK home game, it was streamed at the time. And I joined in Act 2, basically at the start of Act 2. And the first act was a bunch of people on the run. And they kept being hunted down by law people and accidentally an arson. Just something went bad. Run. We can't run. Fire happened. Right. So it became this long running joke of like, okay, they went there and that town went burnt down. And then they went there and that bar burned down. And they went there. And so myself and another player came in. We were asked to play like law enforcement characters who were going to kind of like find and shepherd these people. Yeah. And our most frequent line was no arson. No arson. Yeah. Until the GM gave us an item from the god, which turned one of the characters into a divine flamethrower. And now we're like, well, now we kind of have to an arson because it's from the martyr. It's from the god. It's martyr-approved arson now, right?
Martyr-approved arson. Yeah. It's prophetic,
Speaking of arson, in the very first TTRPG I ever played, 2nd edition, and Kay has heard the story before, our GM was like, all right, if you give your character a fatal flaw, then I will give you something good. And so our wizard was like, I'm an alcoholic. Every time I go into town, get hammered. And so he was like, okay, so you have a percentage chance to cast a spell every time you get drunk, and the drunker you get, the higher the likelihood is. So like the first 3 drinks, it's like you got to roll like under a 5 on a d20. Well, the very first town that we wander into, he had queued up all fireballs in his 2nd or 3rd level slots, but whatever slot fireball could fit into, it was fireballs. He goes in, he gets drunk. The first roll he makes is a 1. And the GM had a little chart that had all of his spell slots attached to a number. So the GM rolls to see which spell he cast. It was fireball. Immediately sets the tavern on fire. 3 or 4 sessions later, we get to another town. He beelines it to the bar. Our Kender is in trouble, is currently getting arrested, and he's getting drunk. And it's like 4th or 5th beer, boom. Cast something, boom, fireball. 4 towns this happens. To the point whereby when we get to the 5th town, they're like, no, you can't come in here. And we're all like, because we think it's the Kender, because 2 towns back, we broke him out of prison. Like, killed a town guard, a beloved town guard, to get him out. And we're like, hey, listen, our little buddy here. They're like, no, we don't care about him. We know what y'all did to that guard. We don't care about that. You can't burn down the one tavern we have in this place. and our entire game turned into, we would get near a town, and then the town guard would chase our wizard around while the rest of us did what we needed to do in town, and then like escaped. I don't even remember what the plot of that game was. I do remember every tavern that burned down.
Yeah. It's I mean, there's so many fire spells. You're bound to burn down a tavern.
Yeah.
Right? You know? Just don't pick fire spells and then you're okay.
Right?
You can't ice down a tavern.
Challenge accepted. Now I gotta row up a wizard.
There we go.
Certainly flood
Oh,
out
man.
a tavern.
Yeah, I guess that, yeah. All of them. Acid? Yeah.
Acid
Different kind
was
of
my
burning.
first thought because like acid arrow is a cantrip, so that was
Yeah.
just high on the list of probability wise of getting cast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are nearing the end of our time. Tell us again, who the heck is you? And what the heck do you do that brought you here? Because you do cool stuff. And David, you're going to have to put the links because I am currently occupied.
So I am Ahmed Suffety. I am the sole person of Suffety Games, and I make tabletop RPG and board game accessories, dice towers, GM screens, trays, all that kind of stuff.
Pins. Gorgeous pins.
Yeah, thank you. And I am also a writer and designer and editor for tabletop RPGs. And I am a big proponent of raising up those underrepresented communities in the industry. I think you're just gonna meet the best people too. Like I don't want to go off on a tangent, but like at Gamehole Con, I met a great friend. I met a great friend, now a great friend. I didn't know them then, but Yamil, and he and I now have are working on a game. We had worked on a 5e project together, a third-party 5e project together. We're going to a convention and sharing a booth now, and it's just one of those people that I immediately walk up and I'm like, I hug it and I'm like, yeah, hey, or we have a weekly meeting. We started making a game about it's a Mork Borg hack where you use a music playlist as a timer, and you each playlist represents the theme of what you're playing. So the first volume is Righteous Ride of the Radicals, and it's like Mad Max meets Borderlands meets Fallout as you're racing across the deserts, kind of thing.
That's so cool.
So yeah, we're excited for it, and it is. We were selected for GameFound's RPG party. So it was a cool honor and reward for that kind of thing. I think they selected 20 people 20 games out of 250 or something like that. So we are excited and moving forward with that. So stay tuned to that. But so I wrote on and edited on Chew, the RPG, and some other stuff. All my stuff's out on the internet. Yeah, Food Powers, the game.
Food Powers.
If you want to eat something and be haunted by where it came from, that's the game you should play.
Rex says that 100% matches my experience. I've met the best people who are very different from me through games. And yes, technically David and I didn't meet through games, but it's because I met David that I got to play TTRPGs finally.
And it's funny because of my position in the community, I'm really insulated from a lot of the shenanigans that happen. Especially since I don't date, because a lot of the shenanigans are romance involved. And so I've seen a lot of kind of shitty people in the space, but the number of great people I have met working on games, doing the talk show in our community so far eclipses that. People who I am excited to travel across the country and meet in person. And really, there's no other community I've been a part of that has had this sort of impact on.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's awesome. I think it's such a great world and great community, and and if you are traveling across the country, I don't know if you all plan on going to Gen Con, but I will be at Gen Con, and I'll be working the Mana Project Studios booth, so say hey. by and say hey. But
We will not be at Gen Con, but we are going, at least I'm going. I know David is hoping to PAX Unplugged.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
But
Currently, the
if-
plan is PAX.
shameless plug for my GM. If you are going to Gen Con, in the play area, they don't have a booth, but Resurrection Gaming has a demo out of their upcoming board game, Slaughter Night. If you like 80s slashers, you play as a slasher horror movie killer in a board game with the people locked in the house. It is so fun, and it starts out with it's two couples, and every survivor, every victim, has the chance to become the final girl, even if it's a guy. And their stats change, and it's great. I got to play test. It is so much fun. So please do go check that out, and say hi to Ben while you're there. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting and
thank you
telling
for having me.
stories and sharing all of the cool stuff that you do. Again, hold up. Will you humor us and hold up your wood etching again of the dragon, because I know everyone
yeah.
was like, it's so cool.
Well,
That's
And then
that's
this
cool.
is one panel, so there's another panel over here
Yeah.
that has an axe and a shield, and then more treasure, and it's the dragon's hoard. And then there's a bunch of different engravings like that, like the one in the background. I don't know if the camera can pan over there, but or not pan, but catch it. But there's all kinds of stuff. But
Yes, go look at the
Thank you.
website.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes,
And
thank
again,
you.
Cataclysm 20 to get 20% off and support an awesome person.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, everyone,
Yes.
for joining us. Chat, you are awesome as always. Thank you for making us laugh and inflicting puns on us. Gilmore says hello and thank you, though he's getting very impatient. It is almost treat time, and he is letting me know. You can see the annoyed ears. I'm Kay. I'm here doing this every Tuesday, every other Friday, but not for a couple Fridays. You can find me over at Entropy Emporium, playing Brandon at the Weird Wilds War, which is a homebrew 5e adventure. Dave and I are working on things. They're not ready for prime time yet, but keep an eye out. And as always, we're going to have more awesome people here. David, who the heck is you, and what the heck has we been doing here?
I am also here every Tuesday with my best friend and with awesome people that we to have on the show. But I am David, and this is/was the Chaotic Wholesome Tuesday Table Talk Show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better GM, how to be a better player, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
Why are people setting off fireworks at 7:30 p.m. in downtown? It's not even dark. Why? Anyhow, thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you again, Ahmed. We're going to find someone to raid. We are going to run off. We will see you next week. As always, be kind to yourself, be excellent to others, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.